Tom Torero, podcast 65 from the glorious, wonderfully developed, luxurious Moldova, the poorest country in Europe. More Borat than Kazakhstan, actually, to be honest. This is very, very former Soviet Union poor. You could say gypsy poor. So if you want to come here, you've got to be ready for the likes of Ukraine or rural Russia or rural Romania, rural Bulgaria. It's pretty shocking. Plus it's 35 degrees. It's the sweatiest day game I've ever done. But the payoff is obviously hot birds. Hot birds that look Russian. That's from former Soviet Union days. Hot birds that obviously look Romanian, Roman. So a little bit Italian, a little bit Mediterranean, Balkan. So you could say a bit Croatian, a bit Serbian. You've got a nice mix. Very small place, very like Odessa. Uni's out. We timed it a little bit wrong, but we are having success. Numbers have been fine, instant dates have been fine, dates have been coming in, but as ever in the former Soviet Union, we wait for God to roll the dice for fillets and real hotties. You've got to give it time. If you're doing fast trips in the former Soviet Union, then yeah, you're giving it to the day game gods, or you're doing long game. Anyway, luckily I'm not here alone. I'm with a renowned London day gamer called Turkish. All right, mate?
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Howdy doody. Thank God you're here, because it's tough living, huh? This is the first time you've seen the real kind of Chernobyl level former Soviet Union. What do you make of this delightful Las Vegas paradise?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, not too great to look at externally in terms of environment, but the girls are just top quality. They're just top notch. They dress well. They look after themselves. Not the sort of girls you would typically find in London Oxford Street, but you kind of see for yourself when you get here and see the quality.
They would be in London, but you'd just have to dig through thousands of distractions.
Yeah, it will take a while to see to spot one hot girl in London. But here you'll just find one every couple of minutes.
Oh, how jaded you are about London! Shame on you. All these guys will be going, no, there's loads of hot girls in London. There are. They're just buried in over 10 million non-hotties. But here it's a high concentration, and this was only your first day, and you got loads of numbers. And then we just took a pee break in Mackie D's. McDonald's for all you Yanks. We had a juice, and it's quite funny, by the way, that McDonald's here is the most luxurious restaurant here, because for the currency conversion it's really pricey for them. So you see like couples on dates in Mackie D's, and it's pretty empty. But we went in there, and then we were sitting down, and there was a nice Russian-y kind of stunner, 19 years old, was she?
Yeah.
Is she? And she was sitting in a funny place surrounded by lots of people, but I said, go on, mate. And you went over, and massive IOIs from her, big eye spaz. Pretty easy for you, huh?
Yeah, I was very surprised, because to find that sort of girl in London, you would instantly just not be able to get close to her, because typically most guys, chody guys with money, would just bombarded her with like offers for tables in high-end nightclubs and another.
Should be a bit tainted, yeah. A bit of a princess.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that I saw her in McDonald's and she was so receptive to me, it was a breath of fresh air, and it just gave me like a massive window of like potential of just how great countries like Moldova and Russia is, and Ukraine.
It's funny, for the hottest girls are in the shittest places. That's just the rule, But we've got a few days to go. We're going to film some of the Borat-like shenanigans. There's a lot of funny stuff going on. Everywhere you look, there's something to film. It's funny. Tomorrow we're going to some caves in the middle of nowhere to drink wine and eat pies with some babushkas, some Russian grandmas. So what could go wrong? Basically, we're entrusting our lives to not even a taxi driver. It's just a random guy with an old Soviet Lada. I can see Turkish is looking very confident about this. This might be the last podcast ever. Anyway, yeah, that's quite a good topic for the last podcast ever, quite possibly. The topic today is breakups. Just before that, just a reminder, one place left for Vancouver, Saturday the 6th of August, 12 to 5, 100% in field. It's the last place of this year for live street hustle day game coaching. So, tom@tomtorero.com. All right, breakups. You might break up with a girl. Well, very likely, if you're leading the player lifestyle and a girl's got a little bit too attached, you give her the talk, or you have to break up with her. girl might break up with you, especially pre-game. You remember how that feels. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're 16 and you're just about to have this massive surge of hormones hitting you like a fucking truck. So we'll talk about that, what to do after a breakup, the chemicals involved, and how doing day game, how doing game, how plate spinning affects this ton of emotions dropping on your head every so often, which is very human, which is very normal. And you've gone through a breakup recently, mate, despite being a day gamer. You know, it doesn't matter how many notches you have, how many lays you have, happens to every day gamer, and don't believe it if they say it doesn't. A girl comes along and you go, oh, I'm going to spend a bit of time with this girl, and then that becomes 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, she sleeps over, bang, serious relationship. So what happened with the last lass?
Yeah, you know, a typical thing occurred. I just developed one-itis for her. I mean, initially it was me that actually broke up with her, and you know, one thing led to another, and it developed into an FB sort of situation.
Fuck buddy.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, and just eventually I just opened up to her, which I shouldn't have done, and that just completely fell apart.
You mean in your one-itis, in your neediness, you, as what do they call it in the books, you showed your complete vulnerability.
Yeah, exactly.
And God, that sounds lovely in books, but what happens when you showed your girl complete vulnerability?
She just lost complete attraction for me, and you know, at that point she was already seeing someone else anyway, and so just adding that to the equation just made things even less attractive for her, because obviously, you know, a high value guy naturally wouldn't do that. He would just move on and find someone else, or do something else, or in our case spin more plates. But
isn't it interesting proof that when the tables are turned and she did power of the push on you, she did jealousy on you, she did vacuum on you, and you know then what it feels like to be that girl. It's horrendous, isn't it? Like, because it makes you wanna chase. It triggers the cat and the string.
We're not vulnerable to it. I mean, even though we understand the whole concept of push pull and how it all works, but it doesn't mean that you're exempt from it ever happening to you, because it does happen. You know, it's just natural. It's just a natural.
Of course it is. It's like even when you're waiting for a text and she's not texting you back in normal day-to-day day game, it makes you jump, doesn't it? Like, oh yeah, is she going to text? Is she going to text? And it's classic. And when it happens to you, it's horrible. And how long had you been with her?
We were together officially for 6 months, and then we broke up for a couple of months, and then we got back together. So all in all, about 2 years.
It's a personal question live on air. Did you cheat on her during those 6 months?
No, never cheated on her.
Jesus, man, you're a better man than me. Okay, well, that was quite a serious relationship. And were you thinking at the time, okay, I've had my day game fun, I'm going to be a good boy and this is going to be the one?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really feel that way until she left, funnily enough, which is typical in most cases when a girl leaves, and it's like something being taken away from you and suddenly wanting it again, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I kind of felt that way, and yeah, it was too late. So what can you do really? There's not really much you can do.
Well, now here's the messy bit, and I would advise everybody to watch Swingers. I hope you've seen it by now. It's a classic player film. Vince Vaughn, John Favreau, I think that's how you say it. The guy that's crying, and Vince Vaughn's trying to train him in the art of plate spinning, i.e. getting more girls, and he's crying, waiting for this girl to phone. And the film's pretty good for 90%. It's very true. And then at the end, what do you know? He gets another one-itis girl, and you know that it's going to end in a similar car crash. But Disney ending aside, what happened then you went through the breakup, and how did it affect you, you know, day to day, and obviously your day game, and because it's not a simple thing. These are big chemicals rushing through your body.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in the beginning you can't sleep, you can't eat much. You know, for anyone who's ever gone through a breakup, you better relate to me in a lot of ways. Like it's like a heroin addiction, isn't it? It's like you want more of it. It's like a rush of, like, it's like an injection of.
Well, it's like it's cold turkey.
Yeah,
it's cold turkey from
cold turkey,
withdrawal from the heroin. It's oxytocin is what you're missing, because when you pair bond with somebody, even a member of your family who passes away or a friend who passes away, you lose that pair bonding and you lose the oxytocin. And quite simply, that has a very horrible feeling inside that everybody knows. If you've lost somebody, lost a friend, you experienced a death in the family, or even you've left your own country, you just feel a loss. And this doesn't last a couple of weeks, does it? This is, as you said, quite a lot of months.
Yeah, it takes a long time, and one of the things that I kind of realised that the best way to kind of get around it quickly is to just don't forget your hobbies. Just take part in your activity, your daily activities. Don't forget your life. Lead a active, balanced life. Hit the gym, which is great for releasing endorphins in your body, which is proven to get you in a good mood. And just spinning plates, just meeting more girls, just having fun. Because one thing that one of the reasons why I was so needy in the beginning, before game, was that I had scarcity, I had lack of abundance. And so knowing game in itself kind of helped me kind of get over it a lot quicker.
Yeah, that's the caveat, that you will still experience this emotion. You cannot be immune from this emotion, however many girls you sleep with and however long you're a player, even if you're a lifetime player. Every so often this one girl just pops up, takes you by surprise, blindsides you, and either you leave her and that still hurts, or she leaves you, that still hurts. But the great thing about game is that you don't need to watch swingers. You can just get back on the horse and say, okay, I feel really shit. I mean, a lot of times you just don't want to go out and game, do you? Because when you go out and game, what happens is that you compare all the girls to her.
Exactly.
You feel like there's a death in the back of your mind.
It's like a void that you just can't seem to get rid of. Like whatever, like however many girls you kind of fuck, it's still there. That bad feeling is still there. But eventually it does fade away with time.
Yeah. But breaking the rules, I mean, everybody's broken rules. And the classic breakup rule is, I mean, most people know it if you've read Pickup. A doctor will be able to tell you this rule. When you break up with someone, or you break up with her, or she breaks up with you, you have to cut contact. No joke, right? No ifs, no buts. Social media has to be deleted, blocked. Because when you're drunk, when you're lonely, especially in the evenings, when you're down, you're going to text her, right? Or she's going to text you. And if you keep this up, she comes over and you fuck, and it's actually very good sex because of the drama. But that just makes you feel even worse, and she feels terrible. Then you get into this cycle of meeting and fucking and meeting and fucking and crying and drama. And it's not like fun, instigated drama by you. It's horrendous drama. But a doctor would say, when you've cut you've got a cut, you stitch it up and you do not touch it. You do not pick at the scab. Classic game advice is, go through 10 other girls. So go out, like they say in swingers. And you don't have to fuck 10 girls, but go and at least talk to 10 girls, day game 10 girls, date 10 girls, kiss 10 girls, sleep with 10 girls, and then are you really going to think about that girl? And a lot of pickup artists have the rule, no contact for 2 years. I would agree with that. My mate says a year, I would say 2 years, or at least until she's in another serious relationship. Maybe she's married with kids. I've met up with exes after a few years, and you sit and you have a coffee and you laugh about it and go, oh my God, she's like my sister, Do you remember that time when I was crying and you were crying, ha 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 ha? And there's not that temptation to fuck her. So 1 or 2 years sounds like a long time, but it's not. Your horniness will go down, and by then you'll have had a lot of other pretty younger girls, you know what I mean? But here's the but. If you break these rules, which everybody does at some point, you obviously get complications, you get drama. So you had a bit of drama with her, or messages exchanged, things popping up, frame going between you and then her.
Yeah, it was really complicated, and at that point anger kicked in, and frustration, and confusion. But eventually you just have to it's a harder way of realizing that eventually you just have to pull the plug. There's no other way around it.
Yeah, if you want that oxytocin loss to subside, and you want to get new sources of oxytocin, new friendships, relationships, it's time. It's such an old, stupid cliche, but the first few months you really feel it, and then there's that one day when you wake up and you realize, you're not even thinking about this anymore, probably because you've just kicked another girl out or whatever. So all the old cliches are true, right? What they don't tell you is, the first thing they don't tell you is how to break up with a girl. If you are a seducer, if you are a pickup artist, some of you will be saying, well, why are you in a relationship anyway? If you're a seducer pickup artist. Well, as I said, and I think as we said with Black Dragon, guys are not really in game for sex. There's the revelation. Guys are in game for affection, right? We all love affection. Affection is love. You get it from your friends, you get it from your family, but you get it from girls. So let's say ideal player scenario, you have 4, 5 girls, it's very open, everything's cool. Jealousy develops, of course, some fall off, but there's that odd girl who pops up, maybe one of the girls that you're seeing regularly, and you let her stay over, you break that rule, then she's twice a week, then you think, oh, I'm going to meet her sister, then you meet her mum, and it just gets cozy, it just gets nice, and before you know it, despite all your background, all your leads, maybe you're not even one eye to see needy, you're just craving affection, and what do you know, you're like, shit, she's my girlfriend now. That old saying, if you see a girl more than 3 times a week, she's definitely your girlfriend, right? You can deny it, but she is. And then you think, okay, shit, I have to give her the talk. And then you delay the talk and you delay the talk, and then it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And either she fucks off, as you know, or you say, right, I'm going to do it. And this is what happened to me over New Year's, actually. Last year I was seeing a girl for a long time, actually, almost a year. First it was open, then it was getting kind of against my will, more and more close, but I was falling into it. I cheated on her 28 times, I think, something more, so awful. She knew what I did, but this fueled it, you know, classic drama. Once she realised about my bad behaviour, she loved me more. Sick behaviour. So all my friends, all my family and my conscience said, Tom, sit down with her and tell her. Stop being a pussy and do it. It's like putting a gun to a puppy's head. It's fucking horrible. So like you, I tried to do it, I think in October, and we broke up for maybe 2 days, and then she came over and we fucked. Amazing sex, obviously, for drama. And we split up again, maybe once or twice, and then at New Year's Eve, very symbolic, such a bad thing to do New Year's Eve, we had a bit of a talk then, and then the next day, I said, right, gun to the head, and you have to sit down with her, here are the rules, you have to do it in person. Don't do it over Facebook, don't be a pussy. Do it in person, right? She's gonna cry, so you have to let her cry. It's actually better if you let her cry, because it gets out loads of shit. She might shout at you, like she's gonna call you a dick, a player, a cheat, a bastard. She's gonna say you're gonna be lonely. She's gonna throw all of those like anti-player things at you. She might taunt you and say, oh, just think of our marriage, think of our future kids, you're so selfish. She's definitely going to call you selfish. She's going to storm off, and then you're going to have to press delete, you know, delete on WhatsApp, SMS, Facebook, delete her number, don't even write it down and cheat, just delete. And why? Obviously it's self-protection, you're not picking at the scab, but more importantly, I really believe this now, that girl has got a window of time, yeah, especially in her later 20s, and the more time you're wasting with her, dicking her around, you know, she's coming over, she's fucking you, you're shouting, she's coming over, she's fucking you, she's shouting, you're stopping that girl having a quote-unquote normal relationship. So I was very aware with this girl. I was like, look, I'm just wasting her time. She's told me she wants kids and a house and a relationship. I've told her I'm not going to give her that for sure. She loves the bad boy, I know, so bye-bye. And it's a hard thing, and it fucked me up for a few months, but I chucked myself into game, luckily. I chucked myself into travel. I chucked myself, like you said, into hobbies. I made sure I had the friends around me. And there's that day when you just, yeah, it's painful, but you think, I can deal with it. And as you were saying, as we were talking about earlier, you can't escape this, and every guy, especially if you're only 16, 17 now, you're going to experience this every few years. Every dozen or so girls, one's going to be special. But the good news is every time you deal with this,
yeah, it just gets easier to handle.
It gets easier to handle.
It just gets a lot easier. I mean, when you're young, everything is brand new. It's fresh, and so obviously when you do get broken up the first time, it's going to be really, really painful. But as of anything, as time goes by and you develop more experiences with women, you start dating more of them, like getting into more healthy relationships. You're going to break up eventually, but then you'll be better able to handle it.
Yeah, you recognise the feelings, and it's having the balls to give her the talk, or it's having the balls to break up with her, or let's say for some reason she does cheat and fuck off and disappear. You are not left, as you said, stranded. A, you can go out and plate spin, which just means get leads and date other girls, and B, I think this is really important, you understand your body. It's just, I don't understand why people don't know about these chemicals, why they don't teach this to you in school, They teach you about diet. They should teach you, like, what sex high is, right? What a dopamine high, a serotonin is. It's pretty obvious. Oxytocin, you can Google it. Go and Google it now. It's called the cuddle hormone, right? So when you're lying on the sofa with your bird, that lovely feeling, which is fucking lovely, right, is oxytocin. But get a puppy, right? It triggers exactly the same emotion. Hug your mum. Go on, give your mum a call. That'll trigger oxytocin. Hug your male friend. That's right, in a non-homo way. That triggers oxytocin. Get a massage. This is interesting. Go and get a massage. No, boys, not a happy ending. Go and get a normal massage. Not in Thailand. And that triggers oxytocin. That's why that thing about, hugging someone, cuddling a dog, it's really, really important. So I think people misunderstand pickup and go, must not love, must not have affection, must not show weakness. I am alpha, 2D alpha. Like, no. Life is lovely. Life is about love. But love doesn't mean one person forever, one-itis, crying. That's a love that's been sold to you through movies in the last 100, 200 years. It's quite possible to love many things, many people, So splitting up with somebody, you're lacking affection, but then you need to get that affection from somewhere else. Let's bring it back. How long have we got? Yeah, we've got 10 minutes. So let's bring it back to your life before game, and I'll tell some needy stories as well. Can you remember some real chody things you did to chase girls, get them back? Like crying, buying them shit? Come on, like every guy listening has these stories.
Yeah, I used to have really bad attachment issues. Like I used to just get too needy too quickly. Like I would meet, it'd take me a long time to meet a girl, and then when I would meet one, eventually I would just get attached so quickly. It was like typical chody thing. Like I would just take her a lot, tell her I loved her, even though we weren't even having sex. Just those usual crazy chody things.
Yeah.
It was a typical kind of thing that would happen over and over and over again, and I just couldn't understand why, because I could not break it down and see the mistakes that I was making. It wasn't until I learned game, ironically, that it taught me frame and frame control and how to be, emotionally balanced and, spinning plates and meeting, you were saying earlier about one not being, one being an evil number, one is better than zero or something like that.
One is too close to none. Exactly. That's a pimp thing. I suppose, I wasn't going to talk about it today, but I've been rereading Iceberg Slim, pimp, you can look at some pimp documentaries online. And sure, I'm not saying become a pimp, as I say in Street Hustle, but pimps really have an understanding of frame and one being too close to none, abundance, plate spinning, frame, as I've already said. So they're not going through these one-itis issues, because when one's gone, another one's in, and their source of affection, a pimp has this harem. Like in some religions, when you can have affection from multiple sources. So if one of them left, you would naturally feel it less, because you just go around to the next girl, right? Like a Mormon marriage. And there's that famous quote in game, which everybody should tattoo onto somewhere visible, which says, the person who needs the other the least has all the power. That sounds like a simple sentence, but that sums up all of frame in one sentence. The person who needs the other the least has all the power. I can't remember the PUA source of that. I think it's Tyler in the original blueprint. But anyway, it's a golden sentence. So the minute you realize that she has the power, or the minute you realize you start saying things like, I need her, I need to get her back. What a guy's typing into Google, how to get her back. Can't you see from that sentence that that's breaking that rule?
Yeah, you lost the frame.
You lost the frame. And here's the sick thing that, I was saying to you, I don't really want to say it on a podcast because it's like fucking tough love. And guys listening, it just makes you feel sick, right? But once you've lost the frame in this kind of situation, you can't get it back. We were talking about this earlier, that technically, you could go down the gym, earn shitloads more money, probably go out with 5 other younger, hotter girls, and she would get jealous and she would come back. But how long would that frame last until you went back to your buying flowers old self? So when the frame's fucked, it's far better to go and wipe the slate clean, go to another girl, learn from it, take back the masculine, try again. But as soon as you sense something dodgy, guys are thinking, how do I change it? How do I change it? How can I change it? It's very fucking hard, I'd say. And if you're in the process of trying to get her back, you're automatically doing something wrong.
Yeah, I think we quoted David Dado earlier, didn't we? And there was a really great chapter in the book where he says, no, woman should never be your first priority. It should always be your mission. And that's so profound. It was so important.
I love that book and I hate it. I mean, it's one of my least favourite pickup books, to be honest. And I dislike.
Yeah, that was probably the only chapter I liked, to be honest. That was the only chapter, because the thing is, like, it kind of makes sense in a way, in the sense that, you know, we talk about one-nighters, and the thing is, like, it kind of helps you focus on other things, and like more than the girl, so it kind of keeps you in control.
Yeah, he's saying don't make women your mission.
Exactly.
Which is very true. But he's also in the same book, or I think it's Way of Superior Man. He's talking about, I could be wrong, I think this is Mark Manson, Models. Maybe I'm having a go at the wrong book. Yeah. But there's one book, I think it's Models, where he's talking about vulnerability, opening yourself up completely.
Yeah,
the best thing is honesty. Now, that sounds lovely. It is the right thing to do ethically, morally, spiritually. But biologically, if the lion opens himself up to another lion, he's fucked.
Yeah, he's open to attack, and, you know.
Yeah, you just can't. Yeah. You should read, you know, Green's Power. Now, however dark triad that is, there's basic things. And that's not to say you can't cry or you can't ever show any weakness. That's 2D alpha. But, yeah, if you completely give her the frame at some point, and she goes off and fucks another guy, and then you let her come back, no, that's it's gone. And if she's seen a big period of neediness from you, if she's seen you chasing, as you mentioned, she knows that you're not really, you haven't got the frame. And even if she's not thinking about this consciously, her pussy is telling her that this guy ain't alpha. It can't be. Why would he be chasing? I thought this guy could get any girl. Nah, something's not right here. And she's not thinking that, she just feels that. And this is why women are repulsed by guys doing the chase thing. It really turns women off. A Ukrainian girl recently said to me, I said, when do you lose attraction for a guy? Like, why do you break up with all these guys? Because the guys she was telling me about all sounded pretty decent, like loaded, rich, you know, just solid guys. Not just about money, but well-rounded, older guys that she likes. She said, the moment I smell that they need me more than I need them, she goes, like, overnight, it just all goes.
Yeah.
And she feels disgusted by it. And it makes me think of a story when I was at university, and I broke up with a girl definitely broke up with me. I was going to say I broke up with a girl. I'd be so lucky. And I was crying on the phone, and it was pathetic, and my mum had to, like, snatch the phone off me because I was just phoning her and crying, and then she wouldn't pick up. Then her brother was calling saying don't phone her. And I thought, right, I'm just going to get a car, I'm going to drive up to near Manchester, and I'm going to knock on her door and get her back. And my dad was looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing? And he said, don't get in the car. It's like, the best thing to do is to not call her, and she'll come back.
Yeah, it's always a counterintuitive thing to do.
But I got in the car and I drove for hours and hours, and I turned up and I stood in her garden, and it was raining, and I knocked on the door, and what do you know, they were laughing at me from the window. Then her brother came out and told me to F off.
Yeah.
So pathetic. And that's how you learn. So even if you're listening to this podcast and you go, yeah, I know all that, and you're 18 years old, you know, it's going to come.
It's easy to say that when you're not in love, or when you're not emotionally, like, when you haven't got like a rush of oxytocin in your body, and you just, you know, got that feeling inside you. But when you're not feeling it, it's just logically, it just makes sense. Don't do it.
Yeah.
But
it's useful to write some of these rules down, or create your own list. And during that breakup, I've still got it on my computer. I've got a document, and it's just called Yes, No, and it's 2 columns. And in the yes side, it's all the nice things about the relationship and that girl I was in, and on the no side, it's all the logical, rational things I know. You know, why it wasn't working, why I like other girls, what these things are, what I should do. And the no list is huge. It's like, it's just massive. So anytime I'm feeling super chody, like to the point of, I want to call her, man, I just want to call her. Open the document, look at it, and go, calm down.
Yeah.
Special girl, right? It was a lovely time. The cost you pay, as we said yesterday, I think the cost you pay for that lovely year is, a few months of feeling a bit shit. But that is the cost of any relationship, you know. And you feel that when somebody dies. It's very painful, but you think of, wow, all the good stuff that you had that is the yin and the yang, you know.
Yeah, I mean, just enjoy it while it lasts, and when it does end, just thank the opportunity of being with that girl, and just move on. There's always going to be other opportunities.
Yeah, plenty more fish in the sea. So all the cliches are pretty much true. There you go. That was podcast 65 on breakups. Bada bing, exactly 30 minutes. The next podcast will be from London, I think, or back in Central Europe. But until then, cheers, Turkish. I'll see you back in London.
Yeah, take care.
Toodaloo, bye.